Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I speak with Len Covello. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Engage People. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And today we're going to talk about transforming loyalty programs into payment powerhouses. Very cool. There's quite a few startups I've had the pleasure of running where we had to try loyalty programs where like the types of things where we would like run like raffles and contests and try to get people like involved with a company. Talk about why you wanted to work with loyalty programs in the first place. I always like to know like the backstory, like what made you want to work with that in the first place?
So the simple answer is I didn't and didn't know about this. When we started the company early on, and myself with just a small group of people, we were a professional services company, and we started working with a legacy loyalty provider. And I'm going to say legacy, date myself, but this is back in the day when catalogs were still sent to people. So
Oh, wow.
you accumulated your points, they sent out a catalog.
I've sent in some stuff to those catalogs before.
Absolutely, right? So we're learning about these programs, and this was during that modernization phase. So they were asking us to quote some work. And we were like kids in candy stores. And you'll know this well, Jason, with your background, but when you look at an industry that hasn't been modernized yet, you just see so many opportunities.
Of course.
And it started as a couple projects for some large organizations. Then ultimately we acquired the company over time that we were doing the work for because we just brought what we believe a lot of technology to loyalty, and it made sense to go into that space. So Engage was born actually out of a professional services company.
Interesting.
And a legacy loyalty provider.
Yeah. And like, people seem to forget that legacy loyalty programs have been around for ages. I mean, you get your card, stamped at the hairdresser, you get your card stamped at the massage parlor, you get loyalty points at your grocery. When you buy things, you get free items. And, it's just kind of everywhere you look, but it hasn't really been disrupted as far as I can tell. What was the disruption that you identified that made you guys kind of stand out, or what, the gap in the market you noticed maybe?
So the first piece of this was the administration side of things. So you had
Okay.
member experience, which was pretty standard. And if you think about it today, still, I'm looking for an interface that I can interact with. It's showing my points balance. And then through all the buzzwords at it, you talk about personalization. People are talking about AI today. So it was just continuously creating that experience for a member.
Was that not available? I mean, I someone like me who doesn't really use like an admin portal for loyalty programs, I would assume that there's a million of those out there.
There is, just not at the level you'd expect. So
Interesting.
When you're dealing with technology every day, you understand what's available and what's capable out there. And it was kind of this happy, or I'll call it this convergence of loyalty programs, meaning more in organizations as well. So they went from, 1 to 2 people in marketing running these to them being teams, companies understanding that this is actually a revenue generating part of the organization. So they put greater value on that. So now we're talking about, as you make changes or implementations, these are, code deployments, they take time. So we started bringing configuration into the industry as well to make things happen a lot faster. So segmentation, personalization, we're all doing that through a UI, which brought
So really you're building like a better mousetrap, let's say. 'Cause I mean, a lot of these companies that have really kind of outshined other companies is because they've just built a much better user experience. And with over 300 million in transactions every year and 51 million active members, it says in the notes here, you must be doing pretty well in terms of that user experience. So walk me through what kinds of companies would benefit from like pay with points kind of option or loyalty option. Like what kind of companies are going to benefit from this?
So loyalty is everywhere. And I think that's the first piece of this, the loyalty experience. And that better mousetrap, you hit the nail on the head. It's a term we use around here as well. So anyone can benefit from that. It drives down cost. It reduces time to market, whether you're implementing something new or you're making changes to a program, allows you to adjust your promotions or your campaigns very quickly and get really targeted. So that anyone with a loyalty program benefits from that.
Do they need to be technical, or I mean, do they have
not
to
at
know
all?
How to, not really.
We're trying to remove the. We're trying to remove the barrier of anyone in a large organization. Again, the companies we deal with are some of the largest FIs in the world. And those organizations, you've got a team that understands what they want, but everything is, I only need to talk to technology. And you're fighting for those resources in large organizations, and understandably so.
So you're removing that friction between those two departments. And basically
Correct.
removing the middleman.
Exactly. Right. And our mindset is that if we can code something and deploy it, chances are we can create a configuration panel in order to make those changes available to the customer experience. And ultimately, we're driving to the best customer experience.
I've always prioritized my mental and physical health, but there was a time when it felt like I hit a wall. Work was piling up, my focus was scattered, and sleep? Forget about it. That's when I started to think about the concept of mental wealth, investing in habits today to build resilience for future challenges. It's like creating a mental savings account you can rely on when life gets tough. That's where Magic Mind came in. Their mental performance shots give me clarity, focus, and clean energy to tackle the day without the crash I'd get from my usual routine. What makes it so different is that it's powered by 12 active ingredients, including time-released caffeine that supports your body's energy engine instead of giving you a fleeting buzz. No jitters, no crash, just a sharper mind, less stress, and a sense of calm focus that lasts all day long. It's not about replacing your coffee. Think of it as your morning essential vitamin for your brain. And at night, their sleep shots have made a huge difference in helping me wind down and get deeper, more restful sleep. They're not a magical cure, but a supportive tool that's become a core part of my mental wealth strategy. So if you've been thinking about how to prioritize your focus and sleep, now's the perfect time to try their exclusive 24-hour bundle with both focus and sleep shots, available for 45% off through my special link in the description. Let's make 2025 the year of building mental resilience and creating a sharper, calmer, more productive you. Now, let's get back to my guest. So if a customer or a company comes to you and they're using your platform and they find something missing, like, well, my company does this or that, and I need this feature, then you guys are basically bespoke building that for them?
So not for them. Our tool is built out as a SaaS application. So each instance is deployed per customer for various reasons, compliance, risks, scalability. But the underlying application or the underlying framework is SaaS code based. So when we implement an enhancement, it gets deployed across all of our clients.
Well, that's what I mean. Like for example, like I have a SaaS business right now for AI that we launched, and we have customers coming to us saying, well, we need to be able to do this. And we're like, oh, we weren't thinking about that because that's not our target market. But they're like, well, if you want us as a customer, then you need to add this feature. So we had to then go and add this feature, but now everybody can use it. So that's kind of what I meant is like, are you, iterative with feedback with customers and using that
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the best, I'll call it target market as far as customer base and who they're interacting with. So
51 million members, I would think so.
yeah, it makes our product managers' lives a lot easier because they know exactly what people are expecting. But you hit the nail on the head again. That's how we evolve our applications, and it's a mix of what customers are looking for and then what we see in different industries that we think are applicable to loyalty.
So like, let's say, entrepreneurs listening to this or watching, or a company, and they're like, okay, interesting, loyalty benefits. I haven't thought about doing a loyalty program. Why should they add it to their business, and how would they integrate it exactly? And what's the benefit to expanding into that?
So in the loyalty space, you're obviously going to want a decent sized customer base for this to matter.
What are we talking about?
So we deal with large financial institutions. You're talking customer bases in the millions, but you're going to want in the tens of thousands at least to run a program. I think anything smaller than that, you can probably run a smaller, more efficient program. And there's some companies out there today that you can sign up and get going. It's not our core kind of demographic who we go after from our applications. But when you're talking about loyalty, it's quite simple. It's a relationship. You're giving the customer, that member, something back in order for them to be loyal to you, to give you additional information. So it's not always a relationship of, I'll give you some currency for you spending money with me. It could be data, right? You're learning from your customers on what's next for them, where they're expanding. You maybe want to sell them additional products or features. If you're a software application, you want to sell them additional product lines. If you're in manufacturing, it could really be anything. So the value of the loyalty program is to create an avenue for that communication to go back and forth of getting customer data and in turn giving them something for that data.
And when you implement this, right? Because a lot of companies or entrepreneurs, they're saying, okay, so I'll add this to my business, but am I going to see an increase in sales? Or am I just going to be giving out stuff for free? So like, what's the answer to that one?
So historically speaking, the data advocates for the benefit of a loyalty program. So you typically see lift in customers, and that's what you're trying to do is create lift from kind of one bucket to the next. So, someone who's an infrequent spender, maybe you get more frequency with them by rewarding them. So you're really trying to adjust that behavior. How do you quantify that? It's different by each business, but
Well, do you have an
again,
example from like one of the businesses that you saw kind of shift and change because of the loyalty program? I'd love to hear an anecdote from one of those.
absolutely. So the thing you mentioned early on, and one of the latest evolutions we've brought into loyalty is the ubiquitous use of that loyalty currency. So pay with points. So we've got a couple of the largest financial institutions. We're white label, so if you see me tiptoeing around company names,
I
we
hear
tend to
that.
not.
I keep hearing you say that. So basically, you guys are they offer it as a custom solution, but you guys are really powering it.
Correct.
You know,
So
we do the same thing in our SaaS business.
yeah. So pick a top five bank in the U.S.
Wells
or North
Fargo,
America.
Citizens, TD Bank. I can say them all.
You could, and you've already hit one of the names there, and
Right.
possibly a couple. So they use our platform ultimately to offer features to their member base. One of those banks you mentioned, we launched the Pay with Points with Amazon. So we're a partner of Amazon. So
You know, it's
when
so
you're
funny. I literally just opened up an account with one of them, literally the other day, and I got this thing where it said you get points for opening the account and you get credit towards your account. I literally just got it, and I saw this little flyer with the points. So there you go. So I don't know if that's one of yours or not, but that was something that I just got the other day. So it's kind of funny.
yeah, and based on the color of what you flashed, you'll be able to use those points you earned on Amazon. And
I'll be
when
using
you're
it on Amazon.
yeah,
So
and
there you
when
go.
you're
So it worked on me, basically, is what I'm saying. It kind of, I'm a target. I got hit, right? I got hit by a loyalty program.
Yeah, and so that it's worked on you from an acquisition perspective. They brought you into their customer base. On top of that, existing customers with that specific program that we're talking about, they saw additional use of that card. So it was about 30% more use of that card. So it brought it to front of wallet. So
Right.
that means a lot to a financial institution.
Absolutely.
The partner, being Amazon in this case, sees the basket size up around 40%. So now I've got an additional currency that I look at as free money that I can spend, and their basket size has gone up. So this is kind of a win-win-win across the board. And that's what we see in loyalty programs. That just gives you one example of
Yeah,
loyalty program, pay with points,
that's
how
great.
it's worked.
And we both kind of alluded to AI at some point. I heard you say it earlier. You know, I'm running an AI startup and it's just not going anywhere, right? It's the next evolution of technology. We went from electricity to the internet to space, smartphones, and now it's AI is the next thing. And people need to start realizing that. Where do you think AI comes into the fold when it comes to what it is you do, or does it not go into it?
No, it absolutely does.
Okay.
So in our world, there's two things that we think AI is extremely helpful with. And the first is the obvious utilization of this, which makes people's life easier, helps them get to decisions faster. So when we're building campaigns, when we're looking how to segment members, we can use AI and machine learning to do that. And that's I'll call
Much
it the non,
quicker, more productive, saving a lot of time.
yeah, that's the non-sexy part from a consumer standpoint,
Sure.
but that is something that's really valuable as far as our industry is concerned. I think part two of this is personalization has been a big thing in our industry, and that personalization's come through your experience with the overall loyalty program. And that's, now we're picking from 4 or 5 graphics that we show you, and we're picking from thousands of products to present to you. But when you look at generative AI, can I basically generate a banner on login specifically for you, right? Is that
Right.
graphic built specifically for you? Is that content? And we're kind of in this wonderful space where we're allowed to try things with our clients, but they're the most risk averse companies in the world.
Yeah.
So when you sit
They
there
have
and
very
say, no,
strict rules. Yeah.
I'd say I want to use AI to create something for Jason, so that newsletter he gets is generated on the fly through the systems. It's kind of like, that's really cool. And
Right.
compliance will never approve of this. So that's the funny world we live in.
Yeah, there's a lot of legal issues with these big companies. That's why startups we can do a lot more, right? And speaking of the future and loyalty programs in particular, what do you guys see around the horizon? Anything going to change for what you guys do, or is it going to just be the same thing that you're doing now?
No, I think partnerships is what we're seeing is a big piece of this. So it's looking at like brands and them kind of bringing their programs together. So your overall, your life cycle as a customer, day to day will include multiple brands that may not necessarily be partners. In the past, it would
Interesting.
be a coalition program with a parent brand like an Air Miles or a
Yeah.
Nectar or something to that effect. I think you're going to see brands come together and say, we want to
Let's
own
partner up.
Jason's spend at grocery, and we're fine to partner with a gas company and with, a utility company and bring that together. And then it's going to be the ubiquitous use of your currency. And that's been a big thing we've been pushing and seeing adoption is, those points are dollars as far as you're concerned. And you want to be able to check out online. You want to be able to tap wherever you want to and not just use, credit or debit, but also use that loyalty currency in real time.
That's interesting. So kind of almost like what everyone's doing right now with their cars, like tap to pay, but now you can tap pay with your points. And if you got points through Costco and the gas station and the convenience store and the shoe store, now you can use those points anywhere you go because they all partnered together. That's a really good point. And which leads me to my last question before we wrap up. What has a client who's come to you said they made a mistake on that happens just over and over and over again that you guys usually solve right away that people should avoid?
Hmm. It's a great question. I typically go not just in loyalty, but I think clients uh, have concerns with timelines,
Mm.
speed to implementation, decision making, and upfront preparation to launch something right the first time before calling us to come back in and fix a problem. And I'm sure you've lived this. Most
Oh
technologists
yeah.
have is the expectation to launch something fast,
Yeah.
and then unrealistic expectations. And like you said, startups can go so fast, but
Yeah.
when you live in a world with compliance and security and issues with data today, there's so much red tape before you put a finger on a keyboard before you deploy the first line of code. And that just needs to be taken into consideration. So
Totally agree. And if people want to try this out or they want to talk to you, where do they go to find you guys?
website's up at engagepeople.com. I'd say LinkedIn is perfect for us. We love inbound questions and we respond to all of them. It's a topic we're really passionate about, and it's technology in general. So not just loyalty programs, but we love talking tech. We love learning and hopefully helping others.
Awesome. Thanks, Len. Guys, check out engagepeople.com if you want to try the loyalty programs they offer. And we will see you guys in the next episode.